All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Summit Link Building Workshop. Today, we're going to be reviewing websites in the YMYL space and providing some advice and feedback on how to create successful link building strategies for those sites. So we'll go ahead and give everybody a minute to jump in here. While we're waiting, go ahead and throw in the chat where you're joining us from. We love to hear about where our audience is coming from. So go ahead and throw those in there and we'll kind of get warmed up here and get ready to have a fun time talking about link building. Here we go. Hello from Mexico. And we got from the Philippines. All right. It's 3 o'clock in the morning over there. Wow. Well, we appreciate the dedication. That's some serious link love right there if you're staying up that late or that early, I guess, to learn about link building. So awesome. Well, cool. We got an international audience. This is great. Well, let's go ahead and jump into it. So really the point of this webinar today is to allow you, the audience, to see real life examples of successful link building strategies within the YMYL space, to learn about how our team here at Page One Power earns links for our clients every day. We hope that you can take some of the practices and principles that we discuss and apply those into your own link building efforts to help you be more successful. So the way this is going to flow is, first, we're going to look at an example of a project that we've worked on here at Page One Power within that industry. Then we're going to look at some examples of sites that we just found through random searches on the web that we're going to kind of break down what we would do for them and what that would look like. And then we're going to turn it over to you and let you ask your questions, as well as send us your websites so that we can workshop those live and give you live advice on what you could do to have a better link building campaign. So as we're going through some of these example sites, if you want to throw your website into the chat, that way we can get it into our queue and we can look at that and be ready to discuss that in the second half of the webinar. So let's go ahead and introduce our panelists, because I'm really just the host here. These folks that are talking with me today have thousands of hours of link building experience between the three of them. So they'll have a lot more wisdom than I will. So Cassidy, go ahead. And if you want to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about what you do here at Page One Power.
Hi, my name's Cassidy. I've worked at Page One Power for probably about 2 years now. I work on the content outreach team. So that basically means I outreach blog editors daily and maintain those relationships by pitching and strategize articles based on linkable content that we create here at Page One Power and other client links that we also have. So yeah.
Fantastic. How about David?
Hey guys, I'm David. I'm part of the advanced link building team. I've been here coming up on 2 years, and part of what I do in my position, I do resource link building. So we take content on your website or content that we create for you, and I outreach to sites and try to get those links placed on different sites. I also do what we call fresh mentions. So if your business is being mentioned somewhere on the web but not linked to them, I reach out to them and ask them for a link, which does happen quite a bit. And we do some other kind of things like link optimization. So if you have old links, let's say your website has changed and switched over to a new domain, even if there's redirects in place, I'll go in and be like, hey, like I know you're using the old website. There's redirects in place, but we'd love if you'd go ahead and link to our fresh new domain. So we do that, and then I also do things like 404 optimization. If links are broken, things like that, I'll go through and outreach sites and try to get those fixed.
Awesome. So lots of tactics under your tool belt there. Fantastic. And then Maddie, go ahead.
Hey, I am Maddie. I have been at Page One Power, oh gosh, just shy of 4 years now. I'm part of our content creation team. So kind of what it sounds like, all things content, from like coming up with linkable topics, doing keyword research, actually writing articles, coming up with content strategies, pretty much anything related to content. I live and breathe it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all so much for participating in the webinar today. We're excited to hear what you have to say. Really quick, just to kind of gauge the audience here and see where you're at in your link building efforts, I'm gonna go ahead and launch a poll just so we can get an understanding of where you're all at. The question is, does your organization actively try to earn links? You can answer yes, and we're great at it. Yes, but we're struggling. No, but we want to. And no, and we don't want to build links. So good to hear where you're all at. That way we can know how to best support all of you, what you're trying to do. We'll give that another second here for anybody to put their answer in. Looks like we're getting a lot of yes, but we're struggling, and a lot of no, but we want to, which is great. That means you're in the right place. We'll give you the advice to help you struggle less or to hopefully help you get started. All right. So let's go ahead. We're going to talk about our first site. And this is a client that we've worked with. They're in the nursing careers space. And so we kind of want to stay in that healthcare, finance related, sector when it comes to YMYL. So the website's Incredible Health. And one of the ways that we started out by helping them to earn backlinks was we created a guide, what we call a linkable resource guide. And the concept behind this is that it is a guide that you can use to attract resource page links from other sites on the web. So what we find is an audience that has a lot of resource pages dedicated to them that's also relevant to our clients' subject matter. And then we create a guide for that audience so we can pitch the guide to the resource pages that are out there. So we created a guide for clients with dementia and Alzheimer's, and this is specifically dedicated for nurses and caregivers. So Maddie, I'll just go ahead and kind of let you talk to us a little bit about this piece and how this fits in, from an on-site strategy, content strategy perspective, how this works for this client and how it can help them to accomplish their goals.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually was the person who wrote this guide, and I love working on our LRGs because you just really get to dive super deep into the subject matter. And obviously it's such a meaty subject, it really requires that. I think my favorite thing is that these types of pieces are obviously very relevant to nursing and careers. We're talking about healthcare topics, but it's not just limited to people who are maybe looking to pursue a career in healthcare. It's talking to caregivers, it's talking maybe to loved ones of people who are dealing with Alzheimer's or dementia. So in terms of that, it just really opens up what we can do for them as a client. In terms of YMYL things specifically, this is a great way to sort of demonstrate to search engines that this brand is knowledgeable about relevant healthcare topics, that they should be associated with those types of queries and keywords. And I think best of all, it's just you can throw all of the links in there. We have external links to really trustworthy sources, like the CDC. I think there's a few WHO links in there as well. So it just sort of associates the brand with those trusted, reputable sources, and just makes it a better resource that can do more strategically.
Awesome. I love that. So yeah, we heard a lot there about kind of the internal linking side of that, as well as even the external links, right? If you're going to provide a good user experience, then it's important to link out to good sources. That way you've got a well-sourced article that your audience can trust the information from. So much of the Medic Update and YMYL and EAT and all that is being trustworthy and authoritative and showing expertise, and linking out to good sources is a good way to demonstrate that. So David, I know on your side, the resource team ended up building quite a few links back to this guide. How about you tell me a little bit about this guide? Kind of what kind of opportunities does this create for you, and how might you go about finding opportunities to earn links to a guide like that?
Yeah, so kind of like what Maddie said, I like that this article is open to not only nurses and hospital staff. It really opens it up to caregivers, family caregivers in the home, and that really opens up my opportunity to find sites that aren't just specific to nurses. I could just search when I'm looking for sites. I could just search for dementia related resource pages or Alzheimer's related, but that kind of narrows it down. It locks it into those two things. Being able to open it up to, it's a caregiving guide, so I can search for caregiving related resource pages, caring for a loved one at home. There's plenty of nursing websites that are specific to nurses that are great too. So I like working with LRGs because the content team does a really good job at making sure it's detailed, it has really good information in it, and they know ahead of time that they're building this in a way that's not locking in our team to just one single topic or situation like that. So that's one thing that I like about that.
Sure. Love that. And that's kind of one of the concepts as well. I like how you talked about how it doesn't lock you into just one audience, right? The point of a linkable content piece isn't to just stay within your niche and your direct audience that buys from you. It's about connecting your site with other audiences and other topics on the web. So if we just created a guide just about nursing and nursing careers, we might run out of opportunities pretty quickly. Also, every nursing careers website on the web has a guide like that. So there's already probably a billion of them out there. But by creating something that expands the audience, we create additional opportunities. And here's some of the real links that we earned for this client with this guide, right? We're able to get them a link from Cheyenne County Hospital. Now, one of the things I often will consult with people on and try to help move them away from is getting hung up on domain authority, right? So many people will tell you, oh, it has to be a DA 40 and above. Anything above that isn't worth getting. And that's just not true. There are so many good websites out there that are lower. So this is a lower authority link, right? This is a DA 23 website, but it's from a county hospital, right? You talk about a good source for a nursing careers website. A link from a hospital site is really good, a very trustworthy source and a good link for them to have. So that's one of those things where domain authority isn't everything. I'd look at relevancy first because this is a highly relevant link and from a site that should carry weight within their space. So that's a good link there. We also got a link from the New Mexico Caregivers Coalition. So kind of what David mentioned earlier, by having that caregivers angle, now you have another group, another audience to target. And that's what helped us to get this link from the New Mexico Caregivers Coalition. So again, a legit website that was willing to link to the guide that we created. Let's see if we can find our piece here real quick. There we go. Nice little link to Incredible Health's website from this resource page. So yeah, great example of a successful linkable resource guide. I love this tactic because it's something that you can bring into your link building strategy right away. A lot of the stuff that we do from the guest posting site, it takes some time to build up those relationships and do all that. But a linkable resource guide, you can work on creating one of those for your business over the next month and start outreaching for it the next week. So it's a really cool way to start earning links for your organization. All right, so let's pull up another example of linkable content. We're going to get more into the content link building and the guest posting side of things. So another type of content that we create is what we call a linkable article. So this is more of like a short form piece of content. And this helps us to earn links through our guest posting efforts here at Page One Power. So Maddie, I'll go ahead and let you just tell us a little bit about the piece that we created here. It's about cybersecurity and privacy tips for medical information. So maybe tell me a little bit about why this works as a linkable topic for the client that we're working with.
All right, yeah. Once again, I love this topic. I think it is a pretty this is a tried and true example of the type of linkable content that we would want to create here. It's about medical information. So you automatically have that super relevant connection to healthcare, to Incredible Health. Like, it makes sense that this piece of content would exist on this client's domain. Because sometimes when you're trying to create linkable content, it can be easy to sort of lose sight of that relevance. And then, the work we do isn't going to be as impactful. So yes, it's relevant to the client. That's the first step. And then it connects the client to a totally different niche, cybersecurity. That's not necessarily the first thing that comes to mind when I think of nursing careers or speaking to people who are interested in that. But obviously working with HIPAA and just the general kind of sensitivity with medical information, it totally makes sense to talk about it and sort of take a unique angle and a different angle to that subject. So that just opens up so many more link building opportunities in maybe a space that the client otherwise couldn't pursue. So I think that is truly, truly amazing.
Definitely. That's what I love about this is that, you think nursing and health, cybersecurity, you think those are two very separate things, but really they interact more than you would think, especially with HIPAA and those kinds of topics. And it's important if you're going to be in a nursing career that you understand HIPAA and protecting people's information. So great example of how you can create new opportunities, connect your site with new niches and new industries through your content. Again, if for a nursing website, if you only want to target nursing types of websites, there's an expiration date to that link building campaign. You know, you're going to go through your list and you're probably going to eventually run low on good sites to outreach to. But if instead you create a strategy that's based around creating relevancy, creating spheres of relevancy and connections through your content, you've got a much more sustainable long-term approach for link building. Cassidy, let's go ahead and have you chat a little bit for a minute here and tell us about, you know, again, how this piece creates opportunities for you and what kinds of sites you might be able to target with a piece like this.
Yeah, totally. So this piece is great because cybersecurity is a really hot topic right now, especially since telehealth is becoming so popular. And I think cybersecurity is important in nearly every niche, not only just healthcare professionals and nursing, but also for lifestyle or business sites and obviously tech sites as well. I think it's something that you can easily create an entire article using this as a resource. So it was definitely easy linking to these kind of resources because of the broadness that we can take it with.
For sure. And I loved the site that we actually did end up getting. One of the sites we did get a link from was Global Sign. So a nice, you know, authoritative domain that we're able to get a link from. And we're able to get that by building a connection of relevancy through cybersecurity and get a link from a site that is more on the tech side of things. But it makes sense that within an article about cybersecurity, you can mention how cybersecurity interacts with the healthcare industry and include a link back to an article about cybersecurity in the healthcare industry. Maybe Cassie, if you don't mind, you know, tell me a little bit about this site that we got the link from. What makes this a good opportunity for us? And even in the guest posting process, you know, what makes this a good guest post? You know, what makes this a good opportunity here?
Well, it's a great opportunity because we're doing more than just helping out our client. We're informing the editor and providing great content for them that also happens to include some informative sources for them. In tech, it's a bit hard to provide an original take on cybersecurity sometimes, but with that healthcare angle, it was really helpful to add that in as well. But yeah, editors want links that inform their posts essentially. Yeah. We don't want to post links that aren't necessarily relevant to their niche. So it's important to have like a broad spectrum that can be placed on a broad variety of types of sites that have dabbled in different kinds of niches. So
yeah, for sure. And the other thing that kind of popped into my mind, you know, while you were talking about just the target sites that we can go after and the quality of the content and all that is again, good link building is about providing value to audiences. And so as you're writing a piece, if we tried to link out to the services page or a product or conversion page on the site from our article, I mean, how would that be received by an editor of a website?
Yeah, they would definitely either outright reject the article that you're trying to post in the first place because of a spammy looking link. I guess there's no other way to say it, or just outright say no to any other future opportunities because you've dissolved that trust with them and what kind of information you're willing to provide for them or what kind of content you're willing to provide for them. They want to know you have great, honorable journalistic standards, and by writing content and linking to that kind of content, you're providing that standard for them.
For sure. And so, you know, I know for a lot of organizations out there that you're maybe trying to build out your own kind of guest posting approach for your company. So important to have linkable content as part of that. Otherwise, your outreach and the ways that you're going to be trying to earn links with this tactic, if you don't have great linkable content, you're going to have to resort to paying for a lot of links or just have an incredibly low success rate for your acquisition. On the other hand, if you've got great content and you're linking out to informational sources within your article, that's going to make your piece feel much more journalistic in nature, and much more organic. So definitely a great example of how linkable content expanded our client's audience and gave us something helpful to link to. All right, see, we got a question here. Let me make sure that's not related to what we're talking about right now. Oh, we posting my question to get out of. Oh, okay, so this one's for later. We'll jump into that one when we get into the Q&A period. So let's go ahead and jump into an example site that we found through our own research. And the website that I've got today, let me get my screen share going here again. There we go. The website that we've got is Bare Performance Nutrition. So BPN Nutrition. They're a health supplements related website. So I thought this was a good fit for our topic today of YMYL and healthcare related topics. So one thing I wanted to do is just let our link building experts start walking us through a little bit of what they would do for these websites themselves if they were faced with the challenge of assessing this website and then trying to build links for it. So let's start out with David. And Dave, maybe you can tell me a little bit just with the site as is, or whatever opportunities that you can find. Maybe how would you start out finding link opportunities for a site like this?
So BPN, they're fairly well known. So there's going to be opportunity for mention links where websites are mentioning to the Bare Performance Nutrition website, a lot of reviews on protein, things like that. So one of the first things I would do is start going through and looking for fresh mention sites that are talking about BPN, but are not linking to the site. I feel like with fresh mentions, you kind of have to have, or you do need to have an established enough site that information is out on the web about your products and about your information. If it's a newer site, there's probably not going to be a whole lot to find in that avenue. Another thing too, I would look through the articles section and their content section. Fueling to Perform is one that I found on the second page. The very top on page 2. And I think this would be a good article to go with as far as like resource link building, because it's got that nutrition angle, it's got the fitness angle. So I can go a lot of different avenues in my searching when I'm searching for sites. And I think it's a little bare on this one. I'd like to see a little more content in here, a little beefier article to really be able to pitch this article itself and really be able to say, hey, this is a great resource that has a lot of solid information for your site. I think it would fit really well. But I still think with the information about, fueling your body for performance, it opens it up to the workout sites. It opens up to the nutrition sites, healthy eating, nutrition supplement sites. There's a lot of different avenues I can go. So I would try to run with that guy as far as resource link building. And then of course, like I said, I would like to do some fresh mentions, which I did find just by doing some searches. I was able to find several websites that are linking or talking about BPN, but not linking to them. So right away I can be like, hey, thank you for your information, or thank you for providing coverage about this product. We'd love if you'd add a link to the homepage. And that tactic actually works really well. You can get a lot of links just by saying like, hey, thanks for the coverage. We'd really appreciate it if you would throw a link to our homepage. Or, if there was something specific they were talking about and there was a piece of content that was a little bit better to link to, I wouldn't ask them to link to the homepage. I'd be like, hey, thank you for talking about our protein supplements. Here's a link to our best-selling protein, something like that, for example, we could do too. And then that would be considered, a fresh mention link.
For sure. I love that. I think there's a couple important takeaways from that. Number one is looking for low-hanging fruit opportunities when you first go into your link building activities for your brand. Is look for things like unlinked mentions, look for what you have on your website already that people might want to link to, and think about who these might speak to and what helpful information this provides. I think the example that I think we kind of ran into with this content strategy, David, is just kind of a lack of breadth of subject matter. We have like very kind of product related content, stuff about their brand, and maybe stuff just about in general fitness, but not a lot of stuff that's creating opportunities for link building there. So
Yeah, exactly.
definitely some opportunity for improvement. Real quick, if you don't mind just explaining a little bit about how do you find unlinked mention opportunities? Maybe there's some beginner link builders here who just aren't as familiar with the tactic. I know there's a couple ways you can use like Moz Fresh Web Explorer. You can also use like Google News, but how do you go about finding unlinked mentions?
Sure. Yeah. So what I tend to do is I'll start, like you said, with the news section. That could be just a good opportunity to you go ahead and type in, in parentheses, Bare Performance Nutrition, and then go to the news section in Google and start opening up links and seeing if they're mentioning Bare Performance Nutrition in some way, but not linking to them at all. If they're linking to them somewhere in that article, even if it's small, I'm going to pass on it because I'm not going to reach out the site again and be like, hey, like, can you mention us? You know what I mean? Like fresh mention link building would be like, you're not linking whatsoever. And I'm requesting just one. I don't want to bug them for anything, even if it's kind of hidden. There's been times where I found sites and it's kind of hidden in the text so you can't really tell there's a link. I won't go for that. But yeah, news section is a great way to do it. And then another way to do it is just by using search modifiers. So you can search Bare Performance Nutrition. And I had some good luck with this site doing it this way, actually more so than the news section. And then putting minus bareperformancenutrition.com in the search. You can share my screen if you want here.
Oh yeah, let's do it for sure. You go ahead and share on your side.
Cool. Let's see which one.
There we go.
Can you guys see that all right there?
Mm-hmm.
So I could do something like, let's see. Let me get some of this stuff out of my way here. So you can see at the top there, I have Bare Performance Nutrition in parentheses, and then I minus bareperformancenutrition.com because I don't want to have their kind of stuff pull up first.
Mm-hmm.
From there, I just scroll through. I'm not going to do Amazon.
And I see you got a tab. You got another tab pulled up right now. So I want to go back to the last tab.
This guy here.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Can you see it now?
I can't right now. There you go. I can see your mouse now. Yeah, go ahead and click on that again. There we go. That's perfect. Yep.
Okay, I have several screens over here, so I think I picked the wrong one.
No problem.
So you can see up here, like I said, Bare Performance Nutrition in parentheses, and then I did a minus just to weed out their actual website. And I would look through Walmart. I'm not going to go for apps. Looks like an app store thing. So Nutrition Factory. We'll check this guy out and see what we got here. So Bare Performance Nutrition, the first thing I'm going to look for is Bare and just try to get to straight where they're talking about or mentioning it. View entire collection of Bare Performance Nutrition. If I open that up,
I think it's just internal.
You think it's going to be just internal. Yep. So that's not going to be to their site. Why Bare? Okay, so it could be in here. Why Bare Performance Nutrition and no link. So they have a website, and I think this is the CEO or the main guy that created Bare Nutrition from my site finding. I saw him quite a bit pop up. I don't see a link on here. These are just pictures, and that's it. So this would be an opportunity for me to say, hey, I mean, on your website, you're selling the product. You have a little section dedicated to Bare Performance Nutrition. We'd love if you'd add a link to our homepage. Yeah. So I think that's a good opportunity. So it's kind of a repeat process where you're going through and opening up pages and seeing if they have a mention in there. I have a nifty little add-on where you can press Z and then just highlight a bunch of pages. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times I'll do that and just open up a bunch and then just go through.
Yeah.
And look through. I went through this one already. Each one of these, if you click on them, each one of them does have down at the bottom BPN's website. They're already linking. So I know that this stacked website is doing a good job at at mentioning the product's websites when they talk about them.
Yeah.
And kind of just keep moving down the line, and I can build a good list. And once I have about anywhere from 30 to 50 sites doing that process, then I'll move into the outreach process and start talking to them and seeing if we can get some links.
Great stuff. And one of the questions I saw earlier was, how do you find an email address to request the link? So maybe, are there any tactics that you use there? I saw someone suggest Hunter.io. I've used that before for like sales outreach and stuff, but are there any angles that you like to use to find contact information for sites?
Yeah, so Hunter's a great one. The catch with that, of course, if you've used Hunters, you know that you're not going to have unlimited unless you pay for it. So it used to be 50. From what I've seen recently, you only get about 25 queries before you have to wait a month to get those queries back. But Hunter.io up here at the top is a really great one. I use one called, and it's a free one called Email Hunter, and it's not 100% accurate. If you see in the top of my add-ons up there, it's a little blue @ sign, and it's called Email Hunter. And if you just click on that, you'll get you'll be able to get like email addresses that it scrapes from the website, but it's not as accurate as Hunter. I would say Hunter is the best one, especially considering they will often tell you the title of the person's email. And then I also have one called Snove.io email finder, and that's that S at the top of my screen up there. And that one, that one's good as well, but it's another one where you only get a certain amount a month, and then you have to wait, again for a full month. But between the three, I can usually get through a full month. If I had to choose one, definitely Hunter. Even if you only have 25 to 50 a month, it's a great one to do if you can't find an email to outreach. And they also give you 50 searches for email verifiers, so you can throw it into before you outreach to them. You can throw the email in, and it'll let you know if that's going to bounce or not. Not 100% accurate, but it's a good. Every time before I outreach, I throw the email into some sort of verifier to see if it's a catch-all, if it's dead and it's not going to, it's not going to bounce, or it's going to bounce, I'm just going to avoid it. So Hunter has both those built in.
Awesome. That's great advice there. Thanks so much for that, David. Maddie, let's go ahead. And there was a question that I think that segues well into this. And the question was, what if your brand's not famous? What if you're not getting on link mentions everywhere? How can we go about getting links? And to me, a lot of it comes down to, you've got to have something that provides value to folks on the web. You need to have an effective strategy there. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about BPN, tell us about their content strategy, what you're seeing there, and maybe what they would need to do to create some more link opportunity for their website.
Yeah. So much like David, my first move is to go look at their existing content, kind of see, they have a few different types of content. I care about articles and kind of that blog content side of things for the most part. I think we're already.
I'll let you take it, Maddie. Go ahead.
All right. There we go. And so I think we've kind of already touched on it a bit, but first thing I'm noticing is there's kind of a lot of like branded stuff, kind of more PR types of things, of like the sort of more, like we call it evergreen, blog posts, content that will last forever, always be relevant and interesting. With this like fueling to perform piece, we saw it wasn't super robust. There wasn't a ton of like actual content written. So I think like right off the bat, I'm like, I know we need some linkable content here if we're gonna do things. I will say like our link builders are very talented and good at what they do, but my job is to try to make link building easier for them. So I'm sure if we really had to, we could have some success. But I think if we really wanted to see something like take off, we're gonna need to do just totally new content. So since we're kind of in like the fitness wellness space, sort of the first thing that comes to mind is something like guide to fitness or like wellness for vegans and vegetarians. We know that it's relevant to VPN. So again, it would make sense for that type of content to live on this website. It would provide ample opportunities to discuss supplements. I did notice that they have like a vegan protein powder, and so like we know it's relevant also to their products, but I think like even with other supplements, so we could get just like a lot of different types of internal links in there, which will spread all that lovely link juice to all the important pages on this site. And kind of by defining vegan and vegetarian in the title of the piece in some way, we're very clearly speaking to an audience. And I think that audience overlaps with like VPN's target audience. But I'm assuming there's plenty of people interested in alternative diets who would maybe just want to read the content, or who are new to this whole world and need to know more. So I think just trying to find an appropriate way to sort of maybe meet VPN's goals, but still provide value to like real people who are going to find that content.
For sure. I love that. And one of the lines that we use quite a bit here at Page One Power is your linkable content should be less about what, it's less about your products, less about your industry, and more about who, more about audiences and people on the web and you know, people that are congregating online. And you did a great job of that by immediately finding an audience. You thought of vegans and vegetarians and people with alternative diets. That right away now identifies an audience, and it's an audience that has a big online following and a lot of enthusiasm behind it. People who are vegan or vegetarian, they are often very passionate about that lifestyle, and there's a lot of sites dedicated to it. So you're creating a lot of link opportunity by finding those audiences out there. And then it was awesome that you then found they had a vegan specific product as well. So it tied well into a product that they have on their website, a good internal linking opportunity from that piece. So that's great, Maddie. Thanks so much. And Cassie, maybe you can tell me a little bit on your side then, if we were to create a dietary guide or a fitness guide for vegans and vegetarians, what might that look like for you to go out and promote?
Yeah, so like Maddie said, just based on their current content they have right now, it would be possible. It's just a little difficult, and you'd be a lot less likely to have successful relationships with blog editors or successful articles, including those links. So it's a lot easier to build links with that fitness guide that Maddie came up with, or for vegans. And vegans veganism or vegetarianism is great because it not only fits well with vegan and nutritional kind of article blogs or health blogs, but it also works for sustainability because there's an aspect of sustainability with a vegan diet. So I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen to show what I found with that in mind. So let's go ahead. So can everybody see my screen?
I'm seeing it.
Awesome. So this is the Flaming Vegan, which is a site I found that they have plenty of different angles you can take with veganism. So recipes, lifestyle, they even go into travel and family and organic gardening and that sort of thing. So when outreaching this sort of site, I like to, this is a draft of an outreach I typically kind of take. And I like to pitch them ideas that have client links in mind. So with that vegan link that we brainstormed, different approaches that the editor might like that could naturally utilize that resource, that could inform the article, but also could provide value for the site that wasn't already published on the site. So that's the kind of approach that I would take. And it's a lot easier to do, and it's a lot more successful doing this than having a client resource to just a product page that they have, or some of the articles that they've previously posted that are just mainly product oriented or are advertising their products at least. So
for sure. I mean, like, you just think about it again. How can you provide value to the audience that you're reaching out to, and what kind of value can you provide to them? And if you reached out to a vegan specific website with a general page, about, what, a health topic, you'd be much less likely to have them want to link to that than if you approach them with a guide specifically for vegan or vegetarian lifestyles that will then build that much more. And I also liked how you suggested article ideas that, again, weren't product focused. They were like talking about like mental health and veganism. And again, when you write a piece about mental health, it's so easy to mention about how exercise and fitness are an important component of that, and linking to a guide about vegan fitness. That's a great piece that could supplement the piece that you would create for that client. So it's really cool how you can see how that all those pieces of content come together and work together. The on-site content that you create and the content that you create off-site in the guest posting. Wonderful. Well, we are at 1:40 Mountain, 3:40 Eastern. We do have a attendee here who submitted their site. So let's go ahead and jump into that. And we'll take a look at that together as a team here. The website is insurancenavy.com. And I'm already excited about this. And I think David's probably excited about it too, because I know that the veteran industry is one that we've created a lot of great linkable content for in the past, be able to earn a lot of great backlinks for. So let's go ahead. I've got the screen going here. Let's start with David. So maybe, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you would look for initially as you look at this website, and maybe how you would find link opportunities for it?
Sure. So I am looking on their blog right now for some content that I might be able to outreach for.
I'm kind of looking through that. Well, I see Uber driver requirements, discard. I think it's interesting that you can tell some of what they're doing here is talking about like career opportunity as well through some of their content. So you can maybe start to think even like maybe like a linkable resource guide about careers or career, angles could be a good one. It actually
people that kind of
reminds
want to be their own boss. There's, kind of things like that, like being an Uber driver and kind of being able to make your own schedule. I'm sure there's things out there that I could resource guides about that. Let's see. Insurance.
I will say it's one of the things I'm noticing right now, as we talked about it earlier, is breadth of subject matter. I think that they get a little bit insurance focused, which makes sense. It's an insurance website, but I think sometimes, again, people get so focused on what they sell that they forget about who they're speaking to. And so because they sell insurance, they want to talk about insurance, but also it's important to remember the broader audience and how you can help them and speak to them.
There's a driving in Chicago, things you need to know. Typically, let's see.
Yeah, here it is.
Now, let me click into it and see. Local resource pages are a little bit more difficult than just general resource pages, but it is possible. So I could try to find, Chicago specific sites. And I'm sure there's tons, Chicago's a big city, so I'm sure there's tons of tourist type sites, things to do in Chicago, what to avoid in Chicago, those type of things. Those are all little mini search modifiers that I can kind of put into Google and then add the modifier plus and then in URL links or resources and kind of start there. So, I mean, I see some opportunity with that and finding some of like touristy type sites that could maybe pull from. Driving in Chicago, things you need to know. Yeah, that's what we just did. I'd want to try to find something more general like that, as opposed to kind of like you were saying, the insurance specific ones. Those are tough. And then also, of course, depending on how established the website is, I could certainly do the fresh mention deal too, where I'd put the name of the company in there, and I would, like I showed on my screen, just go down the list and try to see if people are mentioning this company. If they are not, try to get a link for that, because that's a really, like I said before, really quick and typically fairly easy way. The information they already have is on the page. I'm not asking them to add anything specific, any special content specifically. I'm just saying, hey, will you throw a link just somewhere in the article, that makes sense. So that would definitely be something I do too with this website.
Sure. One thing I wanted to show real quick was this was a guide, a linkable resource guide that we created for a client of ours in the tech industry. So right? The difference would be rather than trying, so what we did was we brought the veteran angle to our IT client. This would be the opposite of bringing the IT to your veterans related website. And so, we created a guide for information technology and career resources for veterans. And we're able to get a lot of really nice links with a guide like this. So when I saw that Uber driving thing, I made me start thinking, okay, so you are kind of providing potentially maybe some career related opportunities and things like that. So if that's an angle that you want, again, this isn't about getting super into your niche. It's about connecting your niche with other topics. Career resources could be a really cool opportunity to do a deeper dive into for your website to create some resource link opportunities for your website. Maddie, let's let you go ahead and maybe you tell us a little bit about what you're seeing on the website and if there's anything that you're finding opportunities with, or if there's any angles that you might suggest.
Yes. So I did poke around a little on the blog on my own as well. And there are kind of a few things that have stuck out to me. One being that when I do click into the content, oh, well, this one is, never mind. I found a few that didn't have internal links, which is just like so important. Internal links are everything. And even if you have great content, it's not going to perform or do what you want it to do if it's not linking to other pages on your website. So I think like right off the bat, that's something that I would recommend, like going back and adding internal links, always including internal links in future pieces of content. And so I think also a lot of what we see here, we see, insurance, and that, again, totally makes sense. We would kind of look at that more as keyword focused content. And that is so important for SEO. Like, you should absolutely have that type of content on your domain, especially when it comes to like YMYL subjects like insurance. It shows search engines like, I am knowledgeable about this. People should like associate my brand with insurance. But if we're trying to build links, it's not the best approach. So I think it would depend on kind of like the type of insurance you wanted to talk about the most. I see there's like several different kinds, but maybe talk about like problems you might encounter as a renter, or something related to travel, since there's some travel insurance. So I think in this case, just sort of like, how do I phrase this? Like trying to anticipate maybe some of the problems your readers or your customers might have, and work to address that in your content. That'll open up more opportunities, but still make sure it like is relevant to your services and makes sense to have on this website.
For sure, love that. I guess Cassidy, on your side, when it comes to maybe linkable content audiences or people that you might want to target related to this site, are there any angles or types of sites when you think of insurance that you would want to build inroads to through content to create link opportunity?
Yeah, I think thanks to all the different kinds of insurance that this site provides, I think there are definitely like different kinds of avenues you can take based on the linkable content we create for them. I guess if you were to go that angle, I saw that there was Mexico travel insurance on there, which would be if you were to create like a travel guide or safety precautions for traveling or that sort of thing, that would be great for any sort of travel site or pitches we would send to travel sites or even like family lifestyle sites. I noticed that there's like renters insurance. So my mind goes to like college, young adult sites or parenting sites or that sort of thing. There is a bunch of Uber articles on here, which would be great because the gig economy is super big right now. And we have a ton of freelance kind of sites that would fit well with. But like Maddie said, a lot of these articles do have insurance in the title, which is great if you're trying to build keyword SEO. But when it comes to sending an article with this link to another editor, they're going to see that and assume you're trying to sell them something and may trust you less. So having insurance as supplemental information is a great way to gain that trust from editors and also provide value to their audiences. So yeah, if when it comes to Uber, the Uber articles, maybe just broadening it up to the gig economy in general, or requirements in the gig economy. So
got it.
Yeah, if that makes any sense.
No, that's awesome advice. And the gig economy angle, like I remember we wrote an article for an education client of ours about that, and we're able to get a lot of great links with that. So yeah. And I did see a note after, apparently I assumed it was a military insurance site, but it is not. It's just the name of the website is Insurance Navy. So on my side, I jumped into that pretty excitedly, but maybe that wasn't the best angle for them. But plenty of great examples there from Cassidy on creating linkable content, so stuff about the gig economy. One thing I was thinking about as well when I was looking at some of these topics, was auto insurance. You could make an article about, helping your teen to drive more safely, article about that kind of a topic that can be good for parenting or family blogs. For traveling to Mexico, I thought of just like we talk about the travel guide angle, but like something about traveling with kids, or even like if you wanted to create maybe some disability related content, you could create content about, traveling when disabled, or those kinds of topics, and accessibility for traveling. So there's lots of different ways that you can bring in audiences from the web that have many resource pages dedicated to them through the content that you create to create additional opportunities outside of the insurance space. Go ahead, David.
Those travel sites, there's tons of them. There's so many different travel sites out there. I think Maddie kind of mentioned about like renters insurance, things that can go wrong with your home, homeowner resource pages, things like that. Going that route and kind of, like she said, kind of anticipating what your audience might do or experience, and then kind of building an article around that really opens up things on the resource link building side for me to find those resource pages. So
the other thing I just thought of was like how all of the different types of insurance that they offer on this website interact with so many different parts of life: auto, life, homeowners, boat insurance, travel. You could do something probably about sustainability or just like green friendly living in general, and talk about how in each of those stages of life, how to live more green friendly and environmentally friendly. And that could help you earn a lot of links from sustainability related websites. And then, as you mentioned, those parts of life, whether it's how you can be more environmentally friendly with your car, with your home, as you travel, you can then include internal links to those insurance pages on your site. So then you can bring in that authority from those sustainability websites and then distribute it to your insurance pages through the internal linking. So some really cool angles I think you could explore for this website. If we have nothing else on this one, let's go ahead and we have Nancy who sent us her website, nancyburgess.net. I still have my screen sharing, right? Okay.
Yep.
Sometimes it's hard to tell. There we go. Okay. So Nancy Burgess Strategic Marketing. So this is an online marketing agency website. So this is kind of more the B2B angle, but it can be tough to earn links in that space. I know we do link building for our own website here at Page One Power, but I think you mentioned it's a smaller site, so maybe not a lot of initial press right away that you could explore from link mentions, but let's jump in through some of this content here. Maybe we'll let Maddie start us off and give us some insights on what she sees for the content on the website, and if there's anything that might be linkable there.
Yes. All right. So this is full live. I did not look at this one.
Yeah, this is brand new for everybody.
So yes. I think like just from the few kinds of things that I've seen, like, what every small business owner needs to know, like very clearly defining your audience there. That's great. These are definitely subjects that like a business owner in need of digital marketing help would need to look at. Let's see.
Yeah, I love that small business owner angle. There's a lot of business blogs out there and a lot of sites out there. I mean, everyone's got a soft spot for small business owners. They're the lifeblood of the economy. So yeah, you can do a lot if you create a lot of small business owner specific content.
I really like doing small business owner outreach and finding sites for them, because there's a ton of them. And there's, like you said, there's so many different angles and different avenues you can go with that. So I love seeing all this small business stuff in here.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of the actual like content itself, like it's pretty long. Like you're fully addressing the subject of 25 worst SEO mistakes. You're linking out to like relevant external sources, showing examples here. Very much like all the like kind of major things that I kind of look for when I'm assessing content. In terms of link building, I think it would probably help to make new linkable assets just to hit on other niches. And obviously I have not seen the full extent of the blog, but maybe something about freelancing or like just starting a business. I don't know.
Entrepreneurial related stuff. We've had a lot of
yes.
that. I know resource link building. We've done some good entrepreneurial guides in the past. So
yeah, I think there's also room to get maybe a little deeper in like the technology side of things, or like the tools that you would need to do, digital marketing type of things that would open up new opportunities for link building in the technology space, which I'm sure Cassidy can speak more on how lucrative that area tends to be for links.
Yeah, technology is very big with us. I think they do very well because I think those editors typically know about SEO and aren't really scared by it, I guess I should say. I think with this blog, one thing to think of is how marketing can apply to other niches beyond just marketing and business. So like Maddie said, like applying it to tech and or going from a broader angle in general. I mean, it's great content as it is, and I'm still looking at it as well. So it's off to a great start, but I think applying it potentially, finding avenues to apply it to broader contextual issues that are happening right now, and finding unique angles to look at marketing as well is a great way to catch an editor's eye on another blog as well.
Sure. I mean, I feel like if somebody came to us with this website today and said, hey, can you guys build me some links? I bet we could build a handful of backlinks to the content that exists on the site, right?
Totally. Oh, totally. Like yeah, I think small business is very big. So.
And like I forget who mentioned it, but the content in here is like, I'm looking at this 11 plus email marketing tips for small businesses, startups, and entrepreneurs. I see that as in my kind of site finding eyes. I see small business sites. I see startup specific sites. I see entrepreneur specific sites. I see marketing specific sites. And so I have just a huge amount of different search strings I can add into Google and try to build an outreach list. And not only that, the content in here is full. It's got external links to reputable sources from what I'm seeing. It's laid out well.
Yeah. It's attractive content. Like I like it too. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, Michael, we could definitely start building links for this pretty quickly just with the stuff they have on there. So
that's awesome. And that's not every site. A lot of people who come to us for link building services, we don't get to say that. We have to say, no, we got to create some linkable content before we get started. So hats off to Nancy. That's good stuff there. Well, we're in the last minute here. We just want to thank everybody for jumping in and checking this out. Again, this is Page One Power. We had Cassidy, David, and Maddie here today. We're going to do one last poll. If you do want to have us do some research for you and do a one-on-one consult with you and just workshop with you, just like we did on the webinar today, and do it with you privately, one-on-one, you can go ahead and reply to the poll. We'd be happy to set up some time with you there. So we'll give you all a couple seconds here to reply to the poll. And then in about 10 seconds here, we'll go ahead and shut that down. Again, we just want to say thank you so much for checking out the presentation, and hope you came away with some actionable tips that can help you. It looks like everyone's had a chance to respond here. We got quite a few yeses, so that's exciting. We look forward to connecting with you and giving you some tips and hints on improving your link building efforts. So thanks, everybody. If we missed your question, we'll go ahead and make sure to respond to you via email and answer your question via email. Thank you all so much, and we are excited to see you in the future. Bye, everybody.